Hello everybody, welcome to the Soundhole Podcast episode. I forgot, I need to catch up on this. I am joined today by Jake and Kieran from, finally, my own band, SUNMACHINE. Hello boys.
Hello.
Oh, it's good to finally be on doing the pod with my actual own musical project that I helped start.
We've been talking about this for a while, haven't we? So it's good to finally do it.
How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited because we're playing the Junction tonight.
Good.
In case you guys didn't know.
Are we playing the Junction tonight?
Yeah, tonight.
Oh my God.
At the Junction.
Wow, the Junction.
The real Junction venue in Cambridge.
I think that's a bit of a nostalgia. We loved that venue, I think, for many reasons.
I love the Junction so much.
Yeah, my first ever gig that I ever went to when I was a wee 15-year-old lad, that was at the Junction. I went to go see my mate's band. They were called Improvised Beach Party. Do you guys remember them?
I think you've told me this before.
Yeah.
I was in a band with their drummer for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, who was that?
Sean Clayton.
Oh, was he?
He was the
Okay,
drummer.
I don't know.
think he was the drummer. Anyway, either way, shout out Sean. Hope you're alright.
Shout out all the folks that were in that band when we were in school.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a very fond sort of musical memory of mine is going to see that band at one of the Fiverr shows that we're playing at, where it's 5 bands playing at the Junction, one after the other, and I just thought, like, man, I want to do that. And then I went to sixth form, met Jake, and exactly a year later, pretty much, I did that.
What he's saying is I'm the maker of dreams.
Ooh,
You are.
You are certainly something.
The dream weaver.
Do you know what? I think my first proper gig was also at the Junction.
Oh yeah.
If we don't count like as a 7-year-old, which I don't really count.
But like discos.
No, I saw Busted in Milton Keynes when I was like 7.
That's fucking awesome.
That
I
is
know.
awesome.
I got a flag, and then when Charlie left, I ripped all my posters off the wall because I was so upset.
Really?
Anyway,
How old were
that's
you?
a story for another podcast. No, I saw Swim Deep at the Junction when I was like 15.
Oh wow.
Oh no, maybe younger than that.
Swim
with my
Deep?
friend. Yeah, they're like, you'd hate it. They're
Okay.
like some like horrendously indie
Okay.
type band.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that was cool.
Well, my first gig was at the Junction as well.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I went to see a friend. There was like a showcase thing, and it was in J2, and there were like 4 projects playing, and my friend was doing a thing where he did like, I don't know, half an hour, and then I got up with him and played for the other half an hour.
Oh, so your first gig, you were in it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Wow.
wow.
You played at your first ever gig.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But then after that, it was Avatar on the Sunday at Download, the early morning,
you meant like the
which
movie.
was absolutely incredible and scary.
I remember Avatar. I haven't heard of their music for a long time.
Apocalypse.
Fuck yeah.
That one.
So yeah, the Junction is somewhere that's pretty close to us Cambridge music boys.
Well, I mean, also let's not forget, I met you guys.
Oh,
at
yeah.
the
Oh, yeah,
Junction.
yeah.
Like, we're forgetting the very fact that I wouldn't even know you guys if it weren't for the Junction. So
Well, Jess has to take a little
and
bit
Jess,
of credit.
and Jess forcing me to come and say hello to you guys. So
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't want to talk to us.
yeah, I actually hated them.
Oh. Kieran was like, "Look at these poses," and then shout out to Jess Lombardi, Kieran's girlfriend. She
Yeah.
does all the photography stuff for us, and she did our logo as well.
Yeah.
Well, she took the logo I did and made it
Yeah.
like actually good.
And various posters and things as well.
She's
Yeah.
definitely the 5th member.
Oh yeah.
She's definitely the 5th member of the band. She does a lot of praise, but for nothing, like the thing she deserves praise for most is obviously introducing us to Kieran and
Yeah.
starting that.
Yeah, Kieran was like, "Look at these fucking poses," and then Jess was like, "Oh, you should come meet these guys," and you were like, "Oh, okay."
I can just know. I don't know whether you've added this over the years, as in maybe this isn't true, but last time we talked about this, you said that you came and you saw us playing what it was an old band, and like you really enjoyed it, and I can't remember you saying that at the beginning. I think you added
dude,
that.
I totally like. Don't forget, this was like I hadn't been to many gigs in my life, and although I knew that that Jess knew you guys from Long Road, I thought you were fucking rock stars. Like, I thought you were like, I was like, wow, these guys are playing this massive venue in Cambridge, and it was the Fiverr final. Or the Fiverr Fest final, if you remember.
Yeah, no, it's the
so there was
competition.
a shitload of people there. There was so many, and so I was like, they're famous. Like this is like I'm, you know.
And then come to find out,
You're actually just fucking losers.
It actually, you think we're famous? It's actually costing us a lot of money to be up there. How we shattered the dream for you so quickly. Having said that, the first show you actually did with us probably was a bit of a cementing, because that was like a one-off great one.
Yeah,
you know,
O2 Islington.
Yeah, and we actually made money, and we actually had people there, and
it's not a common occurrence.
It's not common. No.
So just for context, everyone, I think because Jake's been on before on the second episode of the podcast, I believe.
Oh yeah.
That was around when we were starting.
We mentioned it.
I think we mentioned it, but now we'll talk about Sun Machine in depth shortly. But yeah, so I met Jake in sixth form college, Long Road Sixth Form College here in Cambridge. I joined his band. We were called Meet Me at Dawn, and that's where I did all my first gigs. Got into music pretty much because of this lovely man right here.
Don't give me credit for that, dude. You were into music way before you met me, surely.
Oh, not really, no.
Oh, okay.
I didn't give I think I've mentioned this before as well. I didn't give a shit about music until I was like 13, 14.
I listened to a song once.
Yeah, I used to just tell. I never listened to music when I was a kid at all. I used to tell people that my favourite band was Queen just because they were the only band I'd
It's not a bad shout though, it's a great shout.
But so I sort of learnt bass and guitar all of a sudden, and then joined Meet Me at Dawn, and we did a bunch of gigs, and then we did our old singer Sam, he left, so we needed a new singer because he was departing, and then Kieran showed up to one of our gigs, and that's how he joined the band. We did a bunch more gigs. That band broke up. We all did a bunch of stuff independently, and then we got back together and made Sun Machine. That's the context, just so everyone is caught up.
Yeah, and that takes us to what? Because it's not been that long. Like our first gig was February this year.
Yeah.
So it's only how long ago was that? That's 8 months ago.
8 months.
Yeah.
So in 8 months, a lot has happened.
Well, our first gig was also at the Junction.
Yeah, which was a really weird, surreal feeling for me, especially because you guys had been doing musical stuff after Meet Me at Dawn, and I had like 5 years of nothing. Like, I hadn't stepped foot on a stage, hadn't sang in front of anyone, nothing. And then all of a sudden it was like, right, we're playing the Junction, and there's like 100 people here, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, back to this, straight back to work. Well, but I mean, your first ever gig though was at the aforementioned Islington O2, and there was a lot of people there as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. I have a kind of in my head now, because obviously we've known each other for so long. Like I've known and been playing with Ross for 10 years now, just over.
Yeah, just over 10 years.
And then you for 7, 8.
Yeah.
Now I have a kind of thing in my head of how, we all know how we like to work and how we like to do stuff. And with Kieran, I feel like the best way to do it, and I guess this comes from when we first met, is you give him a mountain and he'll climb. So like you say like when you first joined me, our first gig's at the Islington O2 Academy, so just be ready for that, and then he'll just go off. You know what I mean? Then you'll get it in your head, and you'll do it.
Because
it was
went
the same
really well.
when we did this.
It did go really well, yeah. But I think I've always just been really excited for stuff like that, so I was just hyper ready for it. And same with the Junction as well. Like I remember for context, we have an intro track, and you guys are on stage, and I kind of hang to the side, and the Junction, I'm actually backstage listening to the intro track playing, like waiting for my sort of cue to come on, and like I'm stood there with you guys on stage, and I'm like practically shaking with excitement at that point. I'm like ready to just like run on and do it. And I fucking love that feeling. It's so good, you cannot like recreate that feeling.
It's lovely how like the anxiety sort of transforms into excitement. It's like this feedback loop. I think
But we were lucky
Yeah,
because it was
yeah.
Sun Machine's first gig, and it actually was a great show. Like lots of bands kind of start and build, and obviously we've had shows. We've had shows up and down, but the first show being pretty awesome was a great start, and kind of I think lit the fire even more. We knew what we wanted to do, and kind of proof of concept that we obviously don't sound that bad.
Yeah, we do try.
Yeah.
But no, we're so grateful to everyone who's come to all of our gigs, but just in particular that first show, because a lot of people showed up to the Junction that night and watched us, even though we were first on. Because first on, I mean, just being real here, like being first on a at a gig where there's 5 bands playing, it's fair enough because we were brand new, but like just naturally. Unfortunately, some people don't turn up to gigs until later on. It's a harder slot to fill. But,
that could happen with 3 bands, 5 bands, 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we were very lucky, and obviously, we saw, people took a gamble on us because they hadn't heard really anything, and they turned out. And then, fast forward however many months, and we did the album release show at the 6-6 and cultivated that, and filled that place. So. You got to be grateful for every single person that comes when they, could be doing anything else, but they came to see us.
For a point in time, we were basically saying to people, trust us, we're not that bad, please come and see us. I know you've never heard anything that we've done before, but I promise it sounds all right. You'll have a good time. Please come.
And but I guess it's kind of, we're still doing that as in, we try and pick up new fans on the way. Every gig we play, there's people that are hearing us for the first time.
Yeah.
But obviously now, if they do like us, they can go, oh, we've got a music video, 2 singles, an album, and there's kind of, I suppose, there's more to meet them.
You can go away and listen if you want, now, whereas that's the difference. We didn't have that before, so we really were relying on people's goodwill. Yeah. Pretty much.
Because so just to kind of continue the narrative for all the listeners, why don't we go back to the very beginning actually and just kind of recap, because the way Sun Machine started essentially was like I'd kind of heard that you guys were jamming, putting some demos together. We hadn't played together for a solid like 5 years or so. Jake hits me up and he says, hey, can you come around and help me program some drums for this track that me and Kieran have put together? So I went round, helped him do that. And then I can't remember if you asked me or if I asked you, but I ended up playing bass on that track. We sent it to Kieran and we were just like, fuck, that's awesome. That track was Who's It Gonna Be, which was the first single that we released. And then we pretty much just did that 6 more times and then realized that we'd written an album and we should probably do something with it.
Well, it so easily could have not happened. Like if you go from the beginning, like I come out of a weird time in my life, which you guys are aware of, and find myself living near Cambridge again after being away for a while, and I write a song that I kind of like the sound of, and Kieran comes over and writes some great lyrics to it, but had a lot going on in his life at the time. Don't want to speak for you, but you couldn't commit to a band.
Busy at the time, yeah.
Exactly. So then went away, and then 6 months, 8 months later, we got back together, and you were like, yeah, I can do it now, and that song was still there, and that song was Wake.
I always forget that happened.
Yeah, and so Wake was just sat there, basically written, and then decided to try and do some demos because it was just me and Kieran. We didn't have a bass player or a drummer. We didn't think Ross would be interested because Ross is also, a very active producer. At the time he was playing bass, session playing in other bands, and I needed help. Yeah, like you said, I needed help programming some drums, and I remember saying, would you mind playing bass? And you were just like, yeah, man, I'll be in the band. and I didn't mean it like that, but I immediately messaged Kieran and said, Ross is up for being in the band, and we both thought that there was no way that you'd be interested. And Kieran was like, "Oh my god, did you ask him?" I was like, "I didn't even ask him, but he's up for it. This is awesome. That's it." Like, because the bass player, any bass player we auditioned, we would, for me at least, I would immediately compare to you. And I would immediately be searching for someone that sounds the most like you. So as soon as you were like interested, that was it. Like, it was like, yep, cool, done.
If I remember rightly, I think we actually discussed. I don't know if I've told you this before, Ross. I think we actually discussed when we were saying like, fuck it, let's make this a band. We're like, right, bass player, and we were both like, well, we want Ross, but he won't. You know, like there's there's no chance. So we won't. You're gonna make me cry. And I think it was literally like we were saying, I don't even know if we should ask because he's not going to want to do it. And then when you were like, oh yeah, I want to do it, we were like, no way. Oh, like we were both like, oh my god.
This is like I think like because we have busied ourselves very much this year with SUNMACHINE, it's just very quickly become a huge part of our lives. Like, I mean, I know I forget. I feel like we forget that, like, yeah, we were in a functioning band like for years before this as well, and there is like this. I mean, we know how we work as people, like writing and performing music.
Yeah.
We know each other's rhythms, and I think it just felt so natural just to be back in a room like demoing with you guys. And also for me, like, like during that time where we hadn't done stuff together, I like started producing and recording for a lot of bands, like a Too Cool Kid, which is now called Scatterchild, mild band Manic Mannequin, with my good friends Harry and Greg. Greg now does stuff under a project called August Underground. Shout out to Greg. Also 6am Saint and Asbestos, and I love producing and recording music, but since Manic Mannequin stopped, I definitely was sort of yearning to write music again, and there's no one I'd rather write music with than you guys.
Well, that is lovely. I didn't think that's not what I thought Kieran was going to say, because there's a part that he's forgetting.
Oh yeah,
which we decided, like, so as soon as we decided to make it band, we wanted you to play bass. Didn't even bother asking because we didn't think you'd be interesting. So the plan was to not have a bass player, to have a keyboard player instead, if you remember correctly.
Oh, we did throw that.
So we were like, not only did we not want anyone, if not for you, we literally didn't want anyone to play bass, if not for you.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be you then.
And then, ironically, Ross has ended up being in the band and being a founding member and being, we three write the songs, writing member, but also he's also the one that plays the keys as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, so like. The most recent gig we did, which was our album launch show, which we'll get into as we go along this compact narrative here that we're going on. I played keys for the first time the other week, and it went pretty well. I mean, I've been learning piano for a little while now. I'm not that super dexterous yet or anything, but I played all of the keys that you hear on the album. And when my hands are free during quieter sections in the gigs now, I play keys. If I had four hands, I'd absolutely.
I think it's a brilliant thing to be able to pull out at bigger shows, and then I think in the future, where the kind of size of stage and size of show for us increases, it'll become a more permanent thing because it sounds amazing. So.
Yeah.
And then Ross joined the band.
Yeah.
We're here,
what happened next? Yeah, so
demos.
Yes, we finished the demos. We started gigging. Oh, Will Todd, the drummer, he joined the band. We'd kind of written the bulk of the material by the time he joined, and we were just desperately trying to find a drummer, just someone to do gigs with.
Were all the demos done?
I think they were mostly done.
Mostly done. They had
instrumentally, I think.
Yeah.
Not all of them had vocals, but I think like 3 of them did, and like maybe 2. At the time, we maybe had like, I don't know.
So then, we pretty much just said to Will, like, please play live drums for us ASAP, and he was like, okay, and he fucking nailed it. And that first show that we did really, as Jake said, sort of lit the fire underneath us, and we just got to it. We did a few more gigs after that, and then and then we went to the studio to lay down the album.
I mean, it's one of those things. We talked about it a lot, and different bands have different ideas of what is busy and what is not. And I know that we're not breaking any records here for busyness by any standard, but we definitely kind of went into this first year going, we want to have by the end of this year we want to have material for people to listen to on all the streaming sites. We want to establish ourselves as Cambridge being our kind of like home base, so we can always sell a good amount of tickets there, which we've done luckily. We want to play a lot of shows outside of Cambridge around the UK, which we're doing and have done, and basically put ourselves in the best position for next year to do like just gigs on gigs on gigs, and hopefully start festivals. And it did mean that it's been for us at least, we ramped up. We kind of went from 0 to 6. We didn't go through the numbers. We went from 0 to 6 or 7 straight out the gate, so it felt like a lot. And now we're kind of comfortable at that number, but it did feel like ramping up very quickly from nothing to everything, really.
Yeah. I mean, like, definitely for 4 people that work full-time, more than full-time in some cases, we definitely invested a lot of time in it. I think we threw ourselves in at the deep end.
We were very keen to, I mean, we to our credit, we put together a very realistic, doable, but also relatively urgent game plan. And essentially, we wanted to just record the album in full as soon as we were ready, and then just put out a single, which ended up being Who's It Gonna Be? Because as we were doing more and more gigs, we wanted to be able to point people towards something and say like, hey, we do actually make music that you can listen to in actual places where people go to listen to music nowadays. We went to Half Ton Studios here in Cambridge, which is another very special place to us. We used to rehearse there and record there a lot as Meet Me at Dawn. And also the studio engineers there, we know them very well. We recorded the whole album with the wonderfully talented and legendary Matty Moon. Shout out to Matty.
I need to send him a copy of the album.
Oh yeah,
I promised that
cool.
when we left the studio. I was like, I'm going to send you a copy as soon as they get made. And he was like, oh man, can't wait to hear it. And it's been like a month since the album's come out, and I've completely forgotten.
Yeah, he's a wonderful recording, mixing, and mastering engineer. So he recorded and mastered the album. I mixed it and also recorded all the vocals and the keys separately. But we went straight into the studio and we recorded all of the rhythm guitar, all of the bass guitar, and all of the drums that you hear on the album. It was all recorded live together in one room. From the get-go, just because it's our first album. And with how the songs sound to us and the way that we play them, and obviously the way that we ended up recording them, we wanted it to be I certainly did, because I love this kind of sound. We want it to be very roomy sounding, very ambient, not like super loud and compressed, just very roomy. It's like you're in the live room with us. So yeah, we recorded the whole rhythm section live with a bunch of room mics and stuff like that. All the good shit. And then Jake laid down all of the lead guitar afterwards. And then we went to a little room in where Kieran works.
Yeah, so big up Churchill College for providing the studio space to record all of the vocals in.
Then we spent what was it, combined total of?
It was like 5 days.
Yeah,
I think like in total, not all at once.
So what it would be
over the course of maybe 4 weeks.
30 hours, I think, in total to do.
Oh, at least in that little room. Yeah.
I enjoyed that so much because I don't find vocal record, obviously because I'm not doing lead vocal, I'm doing backing vocal, so it's a lot more enjoyable, not as stressful, maybe, or it's it's not about me. I'm just doing backing vocals, so I found that so much more enjoyable than the music recording. Not because there was anything wrong with it, but just because I find recording very stressful?
Yeah, I'm very 50-50 with recording vocals. There's a part of me that's like, it's so satisfying when you get really good takes and you're getting things done and that feeling. But then there's the other part where you're like, the stress is there because you're like, this is it. I have to like show up, like sing well, or well, no, not sing well, sing perfect, like sing the best I can sing, you know. So there's that, and yeah, but I liked the process of doing that.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I guess we kind of had the saving grace of like, we're all doing it together, live, and whilst that does mean there's more variables during the takes, it also means that you get to kind of just like fall into the moment and let things kind of come together. I did feel quite bad because we basically were just like, right, we've done our bit, now Kieran, it's all on you, man.
Yeah, no, but that's fine. Like, I do enjoy doing it, but yeah, there is that sort of like,
I mean, it's always that way, isn't it, for vocalists?
yeah,
really?
and it's like, you know, doing a take where it's like there's that one tiny bit where you're like, oh, I could do that bit a little bit better, and then you get in your head about it and you're doing the same thing over and over again, and you know, sometimes you have to just let go. And
yeah. I think we're a band that exists to play live. Like I love writing. I know we all do, and we like recording. But I feel like that's kind of like, at least for me, that's my favourite thing, playing live, because as soon as everything's recorded, not only do I find the recording stressful, but I'm also judging everything I've played. Like, I can't listen to the album now. I can't listen to it, even like I'm very happy with it, but I have to listen to it after it's come out once or twice to decide what I'm not happy with, to decide what I do for the next one, and decide I want it changed. But I have to find a line between listening to it enough to decide what I want to change about my playing for the next album, but not too much, because then I'll be like, oh, I want to re-record that one bit.
Yeah, sorry, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I don't know if it's, I mean, it definitely is the same for you guys as well, but especially as a vocalist, you have to get used to hearing your own voice, and it sucks. It really fucking sucks.
I wouldn't mind hearing my own voice if it sounded like yours.
Oh, shut up. But yeah, like, I'm kind of, he is touching me. It's getting quite hot in here.
Daddy.
You fully just interrupted.
I knew this was going to degenerate.
Yes. You fully. Kieran was like full speed ahead, and you've just removed the tracks.
But I did that with his life as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I made him do
No,
music.
all I was going to say is, like, yeah, you have to listen to your own voice a lot, and it fucking sucks because no one likes hearing their own voice, and you never get used to it. But at least it's kind of like, I can, you know, I'm proud to show people the songs that we've made now. I'm very much like excited to like, hey, listen to this song that we have.
Yeah. I mean,
that's.
I mean, I know there's a lot of pressure involved, but you absolutely killed it. Like, take after take.
So did you guys,
it was awesome.
like, as well. I mean, don't forget, I was sat there for 4 entire days doing nothing, just watching you guys, like, in the studio. So and yeah, like, every single take, it just sounded perfect to me, and there would be, you know, just odd bits here and there to tidy up, but it was, you know.
Yeah.
That is one thing I'd like to ask you, actually, to derail this timeline thing we're doing at the moment, just for a second. Something that I thought I was thinking about the other night, and we might as well talk about it on here. So when you were listening to the album after it's come out, is there anything you heard where you were like, you don't dislike it, but you're like, okay, even if it's just how you're singing or playing, or how you wrote, that you thought, okay, for the next one I'm gonna do it slightly differently, as in, like, not saying anything disparaging about this album, but just maybe noticing how you want to progress for the next one?
So there's nothing that I would look back on and say, oh, I wish I did that differently, which is good, because I kind of had those moments to myself while we were still in the process of writing them. I mean, like, the vast majority of my, like, practice is just in the car on the way to work. Because, like, let's face it, realistically, like, when else do you have a chance to actually properly practice singing, unless you go somewhere that has a proper soundproof area that you can make a lot of noise in, because otherwise you're just going to annoy the neighbours and everyone hates you. But, like, so yeah, I wouldn't say that, but I would say that there are things that I want to do that we either didn't get the chance because we didn't have a song that that it would fit, or that I've kind of thought of since then and thought, yeah, I want to write some vocals that are kind of like this, you know?
Yeah.
There's definitely things I want to do, but I wouldn't say I wish I'd have done anything with the songs we have. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I just wondered how you guys felt about it, because there was definitely some, like, I'm very happy with the album. I'll like anything I've ever recorded, if I listen to it, I'll find like problems with my playing and want to do it better. But this is definitely something I'm very, very proud of, and I'm very happy with it. But there's definitely, for me, I've come to the conclusion that we skate the line between kind of classic and modern sounds with prog and all that kind of stuff, and I definitely felt like there are kind of small excerpts where, like, I'm not a modern guitar player. Like, if you think modern, you think, I don't know, Tim Henson or Mark Holcomb or
Misha Mansour,
Jake Bowen.
Or like hybrid guys like Tosin Abasi.
Oh, I'm definitely not Tosin Abasi, but like just any sort of modern player. They don't necessarily have to be like gods of the instrument like Tosin Abasi, but like any modern player. That's not my kind of thing. I come from blues and I come from classic rock and I come from, a very, very, very classic way, and I've kind of become a heavy guitar player and got into, your Alter Bridges and your, Slash and Shinedown and all that kind of stuff. And I felt like on this album, there were moments where I forgot that I wasn't relied on for the modern sound. Like, the reason this band has a kind of modern / classic sound is because I'm classic and you guys have naturally do a more modern thing. So when I try and write something modern, it doesn't particularly work, and I find issue with it. So it's been very good to hear the album and kind of go, okay, no, I really like that, but like the next time I'm just gonna do me rather than do a kind of have a kind of mission statement and just do what I do, and because I know I can rely on you guys to do what you do, which creates that sound.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
I know what you're saying. Like we have a really good working dynamic, and all of our influences come together really nicely. But I think we're at a really nice point now where we can kind of reflect on that and think about, like, right, how do we move forward? That's a really good mindset for any creative person to be in. Like, this is awesome. What's next? How do we move forward? I mean, for me, like, I know lots of people say this, but I really do love lots of music. I love all music, so long as it's tangibly good. I'm not going to get into the philosophy of it right now, but like, I know actually, like, something that we've discussed that we want to do next, or do more of next, is key changes. I know that sounds very basic, but and we do kind of do key changes, but I think compositionally, what we want to do more of moving forward is that kind of thing. Like, right, how do we lift the tone of the song or drop the tone of the song? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, think more, go by our future songs more on a sort of piece by piece basis, thinking about, like, how does this compositionally relate to the lyrics?
Yeah.
Can it go up or down places in reference to the lyrics? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Essentially work together more is what we want to do more of.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I listen to a lot of what would be classed as modern music. Like, I listen to, even just this week, I listened to stuff like Normandy, which Kieran introduced me to. I listen to a lot of Polyphia and Periphery, but
Hell yeah.
You would not want to hear anything in that style that I would write. It's not good. Like, I even like.
Oh, I think I would.
No, you're not going to. You're not going to.
Well, I love hearing whatever you come up with,
Thank you.
Jake.
But like, it's the thing of, like, I think there's maybe a pressure on. I mean, I guess I'd call us a young band, even though we're, mid to late 20s now. We're still not. I still wouldn't say we're established, or we're not an old band. We're definitely and the band itself is young. I think there's pressure on young bands to kind of act like they've got it all figured out, like from the get-go. And like, for me, I'm still very much discovering how I want to do this. Yeah. So for example, me going like, oh no, and this is an actual thought I had, I'm not going to play you know, I always play PRS and I love PRS, but I'm not going to play single cut PRSs because, you know, it's just too classic. You know, when you think of single cuts, you think of like Les Pauls, you think of Slash. I'm going to play double cuts and it's more modern. It's like no one cares. Like seriously, man. Like the show we're doing tonight is the first night I'm playing a single cut in a long time, and it feels like home. And it doesn't matter what you're playing. Like, no one is going to get me confused with Slash. I do not sound like Slash at all. I do not look like Slash at all. I do not have anywhere near the skill or vibe that Slash has. But it's the thing of, like, I'm still learning.
Yeah, I mean, you got to trust your own taste, though. Like, how do you... It's not even like what you want to hear. It's like how you want to feel. Like, what do you like? I mean, but then you can always think about like how you can expand on that in the future. I feel like we're downplaying a lot of what we've done here. The album's awesome. Go and listen to it.
We get to criticize our own work.
Yeah.
So like, I mean,
other people definitely do.
So you should go listen to the album because it does. We're proud of it and we think it's pretty damn fucking good.
I think we made that clear.
But we're just to be clear. We do like what we do and what we have done.
We're not going. No, just wait. Wait for the next one.
But it's just a good place to be in, isn't it? Like a balance between, you know, healthy pride and, you know, being sort of humbling yourself and thinking what next. Because for me, if I can just talk for a minute about my bass playing, like for SUNMACHINE and especially in my previous band Manic Mannequin, the bass kind of tone and playing that I've been very much inspired by is like a big one is the album Sound Awake by Carnival, which is a legendary bass tone and legendary album. It's fucking awesome. I forget the bass player's name, I'm sorry. But yeah, fucking awesome album, Sound Awake.
Pretty sure that was Paul McCartney.
That's yes, Paul McCartney, the bassist from Carnival. But also like Amos from Tesseract, Nolly, of course, from Periphery, although of course that's more of like a picked style, but still
crazy.
He's amazing, and also as a producer, he's a huge influence.
And a guitar player, man. The guy is not real.
Nolly is made up, but he's
AI.
He's brilliant. Nolly's well, he is now because he's just released a bass VST plugin, which is awesome because like guitarists who make their own music in their own free time now have access to an awesome bass tone, like a very listenable, awesome bass tone from their laptop.
That, luckily.
Oh well, thank you. Yes, I'm not out of business just yet. But who else? Dave Hollingsworth, who was a producer, and he was in a band called Dorje. He was a big influence on me growing up.
Dorje.
He was also in a band called Tosca. Both of those bands, I grew up listening to those. They were awesome, amazing bass tone.
They both need to come back.
We can dream. We can dream.
Oh, if you're listening.
But like,
if you're listening, seriously.
So bass tone wise, those are kind of influences that I very much pulled on. But I want to do more different tones on the next album, man. I want to like play different. I want to play smoother with a bit more dynamics and be heavier and crunchier when I'm being heavy and crunchy, but also more subdued and more kind of what's the word? Just kind of pull from different influences. Because I grew up listening to lots of music. I mean, a big influence for me is Nine Inch Nails, and I mean Trent Reznor is an amazing producer and multi-instrumentalist, and he's also had lots of people play on his albums as well. And so there's a lot of musical influence just from that one single musical influence. But yeah, no, I'd like to just expand my reach basically for the next album.
Yeah, I mean, you saying that, and then also Jake, you saying about how you feel like you're still learning and stuff like that. I think all the best bands evolve in sound, and you're never gonna reach a point where you're like, right, this is it, we've found the ultimate sound. You're always gonna be changing, adapting, learning new things. That's how you make good and better music ultimately.
I think a big part of mine is like not feeling the pressure of like being like, we are not a classic rock band, we don't sound like a classic rock band, but the reason we sound the way we do is because I come up with more classic stuff and it mixes in with the more modern stuff that these guys come up with. So if I start like feeling the pressure and like seeing these like amazing people like Tim Henson and Misha Mansour, Mark Holcomb, Jake Bowen, Pliny, Tosin Abassi, like all these guys that I listen to all the time.
Rabia Masad.
Rabia Masad is I love Rabia, and also a completely different genre. Julian Lage, who's a jazz guy. It's not really that's not really a modern thing, but he's amazing. But if I sometimes feel the pressure of like I should be playing more modern, and the thing is, it's just not me. So like, it's kind of learning to also kind of be yourself, not to make this like a be yourself kids special, but like, you know, you've got to learn to kind of push yourself and keep learning, but also be like, okay, you know, this is what I do. I am not I have no interest in learning how to chicken pick. I'm not going to play country. Like that's not something I'm interested in. I want to get better at what I do in the ring fence area of what I actually want to do with my musical life.
Yeah, I think it's healthy to not put things into boxes too much, because I also listen to lots of like I guess what would fall under the category of singer-songwriters, which is already a ridiculously broad category because we're not all singers, but we're all songwriters, you know what I mean? Like Kieran is by definition a singer-songwriter because he sings and writes songs, but I listen to a lot of artists that fall within to that category. I mean, for example, PJ Harvey, Fiona Apple, Elliott Smith, that kind of stuff, and I can't put into words what I would necessarily like to pull from that as an influence with my playing in this band, but certainly like compositionally and just having a focus for a concept. That's something that I want to do more of in future. Do you guys know what I mean? I'm not sure I'm coming across very well. But just that level of focus in my own creativity is something I'd like to pull more from.
Yeah, I think one thing we actually said once, and I think this is when we were writing the demo, so this might have even been before you were involved in that. I think you'd written a riff, and we were kind of like, and we really liked it, but we were like, oh, we don't know. And then we sort of just said, let's use the riff because we like it, not because it fits into any kind of...
It's Blindest Eye.
Was it Blindest Eye? Yeah, like, and I think because it was a similar discussion of like, is it too classic rock or is it too... And after like going around in circles for 10 minutes, we were like, we like the riff.
There's nothing classic about that song.
No, but maybe that's not what it was. But it was ultimately, it was like, we like the riff. Let's just shut up and use it. Like, it doesn't matter. We like it.
Yeah, it's situational as well, isn't it? Like, for example, Ross saying what you want to do on the next, or how you want to expand your sound for the next album. It's also like what the world throws at you. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure this is the first band that you've been in that has afforded you the opportunity to have your own full bass rig at every show if you want to, and that will affect your playing because you'll just be able to tweak stuff that normally you'd be like, oh, what's the back line? But now it's kind of like you can tweak and do what you want, and that will affect your playing. Yeah,
having the option and the control to do what you want and say what you want to say. That's awesome. So then what happened next? Where were we?
I think we're basically now,
aren't we? Yeah.
Well,
we're playing the Junction.
Pretty much. Well, pretty much. Just to kind of recap. So we recorded the album. I mixed the album, took it to Matty, who mastered it beautifully at Halftime with all the wonderful gear that they have there, plus his very experienced ears that he has on his head. And then we sort of prepared to launch the album. We released a second single. Well, we actually really quickly before that, we released a music video for Who's It Gonna Be, which was filmed and directed by the brilliant Tom Anderson. Shout out to Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Legend.
That was brilliant. We recorded that again at Half Ton Studios. I think that really worked really nicely with the kind of live vibe.
It was
of the
homage,
song.
wasn't it? To say, we recorded it here. First thing was going to be, and then you edited it. So.
That's another thing. I fucking love editing video. I'm glad that I've been able to do more of that.
Well, you're very good at it.
Yeah,
so, thank you.
You're stuck doing it now.
Good. Well, there's a new door that's been opened for me.
Yeah. And then it's just all of the stuff that people don't think about, which is PR and preparing everything for release, which is
fucking emails.
Yeah,
so many emails.
So many emails.
Do not, seriously, if you're thinking of starting a band, get good at emails, get good at compromising, and get prepared for the fact that 20% of being in a band is playing music. That's true. It's true.
It's true.
It's the nature of the beast.
But if like, it's not worth it unless you literally, you would rather do that than anything else. Which luckily we all feel, so it's not so much of a burden. But yeah, it is like 20% of being in a band is playing music. But it's worth it, and we're now here with an album out, and we're halfway through our album tour, and we're very grateful, and we've played to lots of people, and everyone's been lovely. And
well, that's the thing. I think we kind of briefly touched upon this in the last podcast we did, Jake, about a year ago now. Well, just the fact that, like, being in a band, it's already hard enough making something that you like and then performing it and recording it and releasing it as an album, and you really want that to just be like job done and people flock to it. Unfortunately, you have to put a lot of work in to the promotion side and talking to people and getting it out there, and obviously just being polite, communicating well. And I mean, I think we've done that pretty well, because now not only do we have an album out that we like, that we worked hard on, but some people have actually listened to it.
Yeah.
And people have told us that
more
they like it.
people than we expected, actually, from the start. So I mean, it is one of those things I definitely would say is work out how you like to work, because if you're absolutely knackered, if you're dead by the time the album comes out, you're screwed. Because I see it, and I think a lot of people see it the same way, is that you work hard to make a single or an EP or an album come out, but really the work starts once it's out. So if you're knackered by the time it's released, like, you need to have a lot more gas in the tank for when the album comes out, because that's really when the work starts.
Yeah. The other side to that is, okay, so to counteract that, don't rush things. Set yourself a realistic time frame. It doesn't have to be fucking years in the future, but it also doesn't have to be tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, so you're going to be tired and exhausted after probably every gig, definitely after you've come out of the studio. But once you've done that, give yourself a couple of months to release the album or whatever you've done at a good time, and allow yourself to kind of plan ahead. You're going to be tired, but don't burn out. It's going to be okay.
If you can get
is what
through
we're
that
trying to
slog,
say.
then the rest of it's easy.
If you're in the band with the right
Basically.
people, you'll all support each other.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you really want to do it, you'll love it, even though it's difficult. And just enjoy it.
Yeah. Where were we? Video came out, mastered the album, did a bunch of PR stuff, and then we did our album release show at another one of our favorite venues. It's a fairly new venue in Cambridge, the 66 Bar. Everyone there's fucking awesome. Shout out to Carl, shout out to Adam, shout out to everyone behind the bar, shout out to the sound guy. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. He was sick. We did that album launch show, and that was just the most uplifting experience.
That is my new favourite gig of all time.
That was
It was great.
Beautiful.
We almost sold the place out.
we were 4 tickets off selling out.
I know. It's yeah. I'd have bought those 4 tickets myself if I'd have known.
Well, luckily, if you go online and you see the picture of that show, you couldn't tell that there were 4 people missing. It was absolutely rammed. So we're
Well, if you include us, that is 100 people.
there we
yeah,
go.
exactly.
If you include the people behind the bar, it was over 100
Yeah.
people.
So that was a brilliant night, and not only a great start to the album, being released, but also a great start to the tour.
Yes, yeah. I just want to say really quickly, we are so grateful to everyone who came to launch this album with us, because again, that was genuinely uplifting to have worked tirelessly on this band for this whole year, and to have been planning for the future and focusing on the present so intensely, for it to all actually come to fruition. That wouldn't have been possible without every single person that turned up to that gig, that has turned up to any of our gigs, to have listened to any of our music. So from all of us, thank you.
Yeah, it's not lost on us that when you're listening to our music or coming to a show, you literally could be doing anything else, and we really appreciate it, and we always will.
Yeah, we are forever grateful. So we are now on tour, and we are about to go and perform at the 4th show of that tour, if I count
right,
correctly. I can
Show
still
number
count.
4. Yeah.
And we should actually probably get going,
Yeah.
folks, because we have to go and do that right
we
now.
have to go and sound check in half an hour.
Yes, yeah.
Peace, love, and happiness to everyone. SUNMACHINE out.
Thank you very much, everybody. Take care.
Merry Christmas.
Happy Halloween.
Leave me out to dry. Your thoughts rely on mine. Pulses race when you lose touch of what you feel inside. Take your hand in mine. Come see the other side. Watch as worlds come crashing down because of life's design. Wake me from your sleep with the heavens inside me, and I don't even feel where the heavens are hiding, and I can't reach inside this time to find the way in. These thoughts inside my mind, where the heavens confide in. Who has pushed these lies? They're calling out to mine. The twists and turns of how you feel when you've been victimized. Losing what you find, the world will pass you by. You're living in the times you hate. Let go of what's inside.